As we celebrate superheroes with our Food Lovers Market Marvel Superheroes Marks campaign, we are also celebrating the everyday heroes around us. It's the busy mom, the friends that's always there, the teacher who goes the extra mile, the firefighters who risk their lives, and the nurse who selflessly works on the front line to ensure our health and safety. When these everyday heroes take a break, what is in their mugs to refuel them? Coffee, tea, some hot chocolate, and how do these everyday heroes find their power? Hi, I'm DJ Musketeer from Windhoek, and I'm the host of Everyday Heroes. Today we welcome Hildegard Titus from my hometown, Windhoek as well. Hi Hildegard, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you? Thanks so much for having me.
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here, right? Now, just to show the people who you are, as a Namibian. So tell us more about the things that you do.
So my name is Hildegard, and I'm a decolonial eco-feminist activist. I'm the founder of the Pad Girls, and I'm a stand-up comic, an artist, a curator, and just a well-rounded human being.
Wow, no, that's a lot. That really is a lot. So now, tell us more about that sister pad. Power pad. Sorry, power pad. Tell us more about that power pad situation. I always get that wrong.
Yeah, so Pad Girls ultimately is an intersectional feminist organization that advocates for free menstrual products for Namibian school children. We also go out around the country and give out workshops about sexual and reproductive health, about consent in general, like well-being and bodily autonomy. And then we also do fundraisers to raise money for buying reusable menstrual pads because we think that they're more environmentally conscious and also economically conscious and last longer than your normal disposable menstrual products. So that's us in a nutshell.
Didn't you guys have some great victory recently where the taxes on menstrual health products was canceled?
Yeah, so starting next year, the beginning of next year, I believe, menstrual products are no longer going to be taxed in Namibia, which is amazing. But the next step is getting them to be free for all school children because, pads are expensive and it's still a long way to go.
Wow. No, we commend you for that. But let's get into a bit more about who you are, as an inspiration. So tell us, what are your strengths?
My strengths. I think my strength is compassion. Like I'm a very compassionate person, and I really like to understand other people and get to know other people and their situations. And I think I'm a person who's crazy about justice. Like I'm like a hardcore justice person. Like every protest, I'm there. Every social issue, I'm there. Like I always want to ensure that we're having a most just and equal society as possible. So I think having lots of compassion and empathy for other people is definitely a strength in a world that's forcing us to be more selfish than normal.
I can second that, really. When it comes to that, being activist, you being out there every time. Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. But now on the other side, what are your weaknesses?
I think I have too many interests. Like even as a kid, when I was younger, I just loved doing everything. So sometimes when someone asks me what do you do? I'm like, on which day of the week? Just because I have so many interests and I'm interested in so many things and I want to do so many things. Sometimes I feel like I'm split 10,000 different ways, but I think it's a good thing on the one hand because I have so many interests, but on the other hand, it's I never have enough time to do everything. So liking things, I think that is my weakness. I like everything.
The ultimate like all thing, right?
Also.
Okay, so what was the best advice you ever received?
I get this from my mom all the time, which is you can't fill from an empty cup, which basically is just you need to take time to rest. And I think specifically with activist work, with working with people from vulnerable communities, it's always important to take care of yourself first, because if you're not taking care of your mental health, your physical health, and just your general self, you aren't able to be present for other people. So yeah, ultimately, I think fill from an empty cup, take care of yourself, and then you can give to others. That's advice.
That is fantastic advice. I think I should heed some of that. Yeah, because Okay, so who inspires you and why?
I think people who live authentically like themselves, people who follow their passions, people who have joy and confidence in what they do, that's the most inspiring thing, because I think that the world needs more people who are trusting in themselves and more present in themselves to be a more conducive space for everyone. So ultimately, anyone who's doing something cool who's following their dreams, who's passionate and who's kind to other people, like that inspires me. And I think just the world in general, like I think the world is so big and like there's so many cultures and there's so much we can learn from each other. And like I'm inspired every day. Like sometimes I go to the park and I look at a bird and like, wow, that's so pretty how this bird just like walks and feeds its babies or whatever. And then the other times I'm just like meeting other people and just seeing how passionate they are about what they do is such an inspiration to me. So I think I'm very like observant. So little things inspire me. Like life inspires me.
Wow.
I
Wow.
think
I
in a
had,
nutshell.
I had to pause there for a second. That came from the heart. Okay. What has been your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
Yo, honestly, I feel like COVID-19 has been the biggest challenge so far. And adulthood as well. I know like you're not supposed to say that because I remember being younger and always wanting to be like, oh, I can't wait to be an adult. And now that I'm like fully into it, I'm just like, yo, adulting is hard. And I think adulting in the time of COVID has been such a challenge in terms of like trying to maintain our lives the way that it was before, but also recognizing that we're in a pandemic and, it's a very stressful time for everyone. And learning how to balance myself, take care of myself, and also like I remember in the first lockdown where we were all like sitting at home and I felt so bad for resting because it's like we're so used to always being busy. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge in learning how to just sit still and allow what's happening to us to happen to us, but also to remain positive in a time of such uncertainty because COVID-19 didn't come to play.
So what do you do? What do you do to stay positive all the time? Like, how do you keep sane?
I take lots of naps, napping, eating, and then when I can, I like to go sit in nature and just like sit in like the grass and sunbathe and just spend as much time outdoors as I can because I feel like it's such a good way to regenerate, especially when we're stuck indoors all the time and we're spending more time by ourselves. I think spending time in nature is one of the most important ways to keep myself sane in the madness that is
Wow.
this pandemic.
Wow, that's great. Now, describe a defining moment in your life.
The most defining moment in my life was probably starting the Power Pack Girls, because like it just started like I was reading this article that was talking about menstrual poverty in Namibia, and initially I was like, oh, I need to do something to help in the way that I can. So then I started this quiz night, and then slowly people started like wanting to volunteer their time as well. And then like over the years, it just grew into something bigger. And I think it was defining in sense of like I'd never realized how much like you know showing empathy could develop into something bigger, into a movement within itself in terms of like trying to advocate against period poverty. So I'd say that's probably the most defining moment because it's opened so much doors in terms of getting to meet so many different people from across the country. Like every time we travel and do a workshop, like I feel like I'm learning so much more from the children than they learn from me, just in terms of like understanding what they call periods in different languages, understanding like people's different socioeconomic situations, also understanding like the state of education and the resources that we have in our education system, like the infrastructure and stuff like that. Like I think Power Pack Girls has allowed me to travel Namibia more than I've ever had, and it's allowed me to really open my eyes to like a part of, life that I wasn't aware of. So I think that's probably the most defining moment for me because it really just allowed me to like be more present and more there with my fellow Namibians. So yes, the Power Pack Girls, it's been a blast.
Wow, that's deep. That is deep. So what has been your biggest accomplishment?
Our biggest accomplishment was last year, the Power Pack Girls received a Point of Light Award for the Commonwealth, which is basically an award that they give to like different members. Yeah, I know, crazy. In the middle of a pandemic, they're like, hey, we like what you guys have been up to. And we're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. But basically, they try and highlight different people in the Commonwealth who've done amazing things for the community. And then they gave us an award as a Power Pack Girls. So that was probably biggest accomplishments because again like when you're doing the work you don't really think about the impact like in a grander scheme of things, but when you look back in it and you're like, oh wow, this is actually like important work that we're doing, and it's really important that we also show other people that they can do the same thing in their communities as well.
Wow. Wow. No, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Do you have a personal motto or mantra, and what is it?
So there's this actress called Sophia Bush, and she has this saying, and I love it. It says you're allowed to be a work of art, no, a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. You know, like, because sometimes I feel like we're like, especially when we live in a world that's focused on perfectionism, like I think we should also understand that we're always progressing and they're always getting better. But at the same time, we're also pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Like we're already a work of art, but we're also allowed to be progressing. So I think it's like being proud of what I've achieved, but also recognizing that I still have ways to develop and I can always get better. And I can always, like, I'm still not where I want to be, but I've done amazing so far.
Wow.
So yes.
That's a great one. That is really a great one. I like that. Okay. And who is your favorite Marvel Avenger and why? I like that question.
I don't know if Shuri is on the cups or anything, but Shuri, is she
Sure.
one? Is she?
No, she's not. No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is she not? Okay, fine. Then Black Panther. So I think Black Panther is my fave. Like I remember watching it and I was just like, like it was Black Panther is the one. And also, I mean, you know, it was really sad when Chadwick Boseman passed away and everything, but it's like I think it allowed especially a generation of like Black children to have like this superhero that we never had and to show us in a way that we've never been seen and be like, you know, like we can have this amazing world, amazing powers, intelligence, technology, all these things. And I think like it reminded us not to sleep on our own potential because I feel like the rest of the world always tries to do that. So Black Panther, like every time I watch it, I'm just like, like it's like I think I watched it like 3 times in the cinema because I was just like blown away.
Yeah, no, like thank you for that. Because like literally when I was watching, it was like literally at the end there was like a tear rolling down. I was like, finally, these kids now have a superhero that they can look up to and emulate, and you know, just like be proud of it. It's like it's not like the gangster. It's not the gangster scene. It's like an actual Marvel superhero. That was pretty awesome. And one cut all that out. But anyway.
No, but it's true. Like I literally feel like it was like my inner child was just like beaming with joy. Like Black Panther was made for all of us. Like,
oh no, my inner child was annoyed. I was like, why not in nighttime? Why not in nighttime? Why couldn't I have this?
Also.
Jealous. Okay, last but not least, what's in your mug?
So I'm a tea drinker. Like I drink a lot of tea. I drink coffee when I need to stay awake and have deadlines to do, but peppermint tea is the one. Peppermint tea is the refreshing. It makes me feel calm and it smells really good. So peppermint tea is my beverage of choice.
That's awesome. Hildegard, it was so awesome having you on there and really great finding out a lot more about what you do and all of that surrounding. So thank you for being our Marvel superhero or our local hero at that, right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.